You eat well? You take your medications on time? You even try to get your daily walk in, rain or shine. And still, your blood pressure keeps creeping up. You do everything right. So why does it still feel like you're one step behind? Here's something most people won't tell you. It's not just about how healthy you eat. It's about what you choose, and what those foods tell your body to do. Because believe it or not, certain fruits, yes, simple fruits from your local grocery store, can act like quiet messengers to your heart and blood vessels. They can send powerful signals that say, relax, let the pressure ease. But there's a catch. Not all fruits are your friends. In fact, some popular fruits that look innocent on the outside may actually spike your blood sugar, trigger insulin, and cause your blood pressure to climb. And many people over 60 have no idea they're sabotaging their progress with something as simple as a morning fruit salad. In this video, we'll uncover the top 9 fruits scientifically shown to help regulate blood pressure, naturally, gently, and effectively. These aren't exotic superfoods. They're everyday fruits you can enjoy without fear, and with real, proven benefits. And one of them? You probably have it in your kitchen right now, but you've never looked at it like this before. So stay with me, because before we get to the list, we need to talk about something even more important. The silent threat that hides in those slightly elevated numbers, and why waiting to act could cost far more than you think. Let's talk about that. High blood pressure doesn't knock on your door. It doesn't give you a headache every time it rises. It doesn't make your arm go numb when things are getting serious. That's the danger. For most people over 60, high blood pressure feels like nothing. No pain, no warning, just numbers on a screen. Until one day, it isn't. Because when your blood pressure stays high over time, it begins to quietly destroy the inner lining of your blood vessels. It thickens the walls of your arteries. It tires out your heart. It starves your brain of oxygen-rich blood. You don't feel it right away, but your heart does, your kidneys do, your memory does. By the time most people notice a symptom, they're not dealing with high blood pressure anymore. They're dealing with the aftermath, a stroke, a heart attack, or a slow decline that steals their independence piece by piece. And yes, medications help. They bring those numbers down. But here's something your doctor might not explain in detail. Medications manage blood pressure, not fix the root cause. In fact, the more your body depends on medication without lifestyle support, the more likely you'll need higher doses, more combinations, and eventually, new prescriptions to offset the side effects of the old ones. This is why doctors today are shifting their focus, not just to what's in your medicine cabinet, but what's on your plate. And the humble fruit? It's one of the most overlooked, underused, and powerful tools in that fight. Not all fruits are created equal, but the right ones can help regulate pressure, improve vessel elasticity, reduce inflammation, and gently support your body's own healing system. But before we jump into which fruits are helpful, let's talk about something most people get wrong, even when trying to eat healthy. How some fruits might secretly raise your blood pressure without you realizing it. And no, this isn't fear-mongering. This is a wake-up call. 1. Berries. Tiny giants for your blood vessels. Berries may be small, but they punch far above their weight when it comes to heart health. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries. These little jewels are packed with anthocyanins, powerful plant compounds that help improve the flexibility of your blood vessels and reduce oxidative stress, which stiffens arteries over time. Think of anthocyanins like oil for an old hinge. They help your arteries glide, not grind. One study found that people who ate just one serving of blueberries a day had a 5 to 6 millimeter the Horiguri drop in systolic blood pressure. That's comparable to some medications, and a whole lot tastier. They also reduce inflammation, a hidden driver of high blood pressure. And because they're low in sugar and high in fiber, they won't cause a sudden blood sugar spike. Best way to eat them? Fresh or frozen, sprinkled on oatmeal, blended into smoothies, or just by the handful. Avoid dried berries or juices, which are often loaded with sugar and stripped of fiber. And speaking of potassium-packed powerhouses, the next fruit is the ultimate balancer of salt in your body, and it's probably already on your kitchen counter. 2. Banana, nature's potassium pill. Bananas are more than just a snack. They're a potassium powerhouse. Potassium is like the peacekeeper in your bloodstream. It helps your body excrete excess sodium through the kidneys, reducing pressure inside your blood vessels. Think of it as a pressure release valve. When you eat enough potassium-rich foods, your blood vessels relax. When you don't, the sodium builds up, the tension rises, and your heart has to pump harder to push through. Just one medium banana contains about 420 milligrams of potassium, making it one of the easiest ways to tip the balance back in your favor. Bonus: bananas also contain magnesium and vitamin B6, which both support heart function and circulation. How to eat: grate on their own or sliced with some peanut butter for healthy fat to slow the sugar hit. If you're diabetic or pre-diabetic, go for greener bananas. They have less sugar and more resistant starch. Now, if bananas are the pressure valve, our next fruit is the artery cleanser, a ruby red warrior with ancient roots and modern science to prove its power. 3. Pomegranate, the artery hero. Deep red, rich in flavor, and almost mythical in history, pomegranates are blood pressure's secret weapon. What makes them special? They're loaded with polyphenols, especially punicalagins, which act as natural nitric oxide boosters. Nitric oxide tells your blood vessels to relax and widen, allowing for smoother blood flow and reduced pressure on artery walls. In one study, drinking just 1 cup of pomegranate juice daily for 2 weeks significantly lowered both systolic and diastolic blood pressure. That's not magic, it's plant science doing its job. But wait, most store-bought pomegranate juices are pasteurized, reducing their potency, and often loaded with added sugar. How to use: eat the seeds fresh, toss them on a salad, or blend with water for a light homemade juice. Caution: if you're taking blood pressure meds, talk to your doctor. Pomegranate can amplify their effect. Speaking of powerful but gentle healers, let's meet a fuzzy little fruit that works as well as some prescription pills, and tastes better too. 4. Kiwi, the gentle green lowerer. Don't let its size fool you. Kiwi is a clinical champion when it comes to reducing blood pressure. According to a Norwegian study, people who ate 3 kiwis a day for 8 weeks experienced significantly lower blood pressure compared to those who ate an apple a day. The reason? Kiwi is rich in lutein, potassium, and vitamin C, which all help improve blood vessel elasticity and reduce oxidative stress. Think of kiwi as the fruit that gives your arteries a gentle massage, encouraging them to stay supple and relaxed. It also has a mild diuretic effect, helping your body eliminate excess sodium naturally. Best part? It's easy to digest, low in calories, and low on the glycemic index. Perfect for seniors managing blood sugar along with pressure. Pro tip: eat it with the skin on. Yes, really. It's full of fiber and doubles the benefits. Just rinse well first. Now, if kiwi is a quiet helper, the next fruit is loud and proud, known for summer picnics and 4th of July, but also for fueling nitric oxide like no other. 5. Watermelon, the summer blood pressure tonic. Watermelon isn't just refreshing, it's vascular medicine in disguise. It contains L-citrulline, an amino acid that the body converts to L-arginine, which in turn boosts nitric oxide production. That means better blood vessel dilation, improved circulation, and, you guessed it, lower blood pressure. In one study, older adults who consumed watermelon extract saw notable drops in systolic pressure, especially during stressful situations. Think of it as a natural way to keep your cool, even when life heats up. Plus, watermelon is hydrating, low in calories, and contains antioxidants like lycopene, which supports heart health and fights inflammation. How to enjoy it? Eat fresh slices or blend into a smoothie with mint and lime. Avoid store-bought juices. But what if you could eat a fruit that not only helps pressure, but also brings healthy fats to the table? Let's talk about a creamy green gem. 6. Avocado, the creamy heart protector. Avocados are unique in the fruit world. They're low in sugar, high in fiber, and packed with monounsaturated fats, the kind your heart loves. They're also loaded with potassium, even more than bananas, and magnesium, both essential for blood pressure regulation. Avocados don't just help balance sodium, they help calm your nervous system, which plays a huge role in stress-related hypertension. Plus, they improve insulin sensitivity, which is key if you're dealing with metabolic syndrome or prediabetes. Try it. Add to salads, mash on whole grain toast, or blend into smoothies for a creamy, satisfying texture without raising blood sugar. Next up is a bright red fruit hiding a secret power, one that improves artery health and reduces stroke risk. 7. Tomato, the vascular defender. Technically a fruit, tomatoes are rich in lycopene, a powerful antioxidant that reduces arterial stiffness and lowers both systolic and diastolic blood pressure. One clinical trial found that tomato extract improved blood vessel function and reduced pressure within just a few weeks. It also helps reduce LDL cholesterol oxidation, which contributes to plaque buildup in arteries. How to eat it? Cooked tomatoes, like in sauces or soups, actually increase lycopene availability. Pair with olive oil to enhance absorption. Caution: if you have acid reflux, monitor your intake. If tomatoes are defenders, the next fruit is a zesty little warrior that fights inflammation and wakes up your senses. Citrus fruits, the bright blood pressure boosters. Oranges, grapefruits, lemons, citrus fruits are rich in flavonoids, potassium, and vitamin C, all of which contribute to lowering blood pressure and reducing arterial inflammation. A Japanese study found that daily citrus intake was linked with reduced risk of stroke and better vascular function. These fruits also contain hesperidin, which improves blood flow and reduces oxidative stress. Best way to consume? Eat the whole fruit, not the juice. Slice oranges into salads or snack on grapefruit in the morning. Watch out. Grapefruit can interact with certain blood pressure meds. Always check with your doctor. We're down to our final fruit, and it's one that's been making headlines for decades. Small, juicy, and packed with antioxidants. This one might surprise you. Something the resveratrol remedy. Grapes, especially red or purple, contain resveratrol, a compound that protects the lining of your arteries, reduces inflammation, and lowers systolic pressure. Resveratrol has even been shown to improve insulin sensitivity, supporting healthier metabolic function and reducing hypertension risk. They're also rich in potassium and vitamin K, both important for vascular health. Pro tip: eat them whole, skin and all. Frozen grapes also make a heart-healthy summer treat. Avoid raisins or grape juice. They spike sugar without the fiber benefit. Now that you know the top 9 fruits, how do you combine them in a way that maximizes benefit while minimizing sugar spikes? So now you know which fruits can help lower your blood pressure. But here's the truth no one talks about. Even the best fruit can work against you if you eat it the wrong way. Think of fruit like a natural medicine. The timing, the pairing, and the portion all matter. Let's break it down. When to eat fruit. The best time to eat fruit is in the morning or mid-afternoon, when your metabolism is active and your body can use the natural sugars for energy. Avoid eating fruit late at night or immediately after a heavy, carb-loaded meal. That's when blood sugar spikes are most likely. What to eat with it? Don't eat fruit alone if you're sensitive to sugar. Instead, pair it with a fat or protein, like a handful of almonds, a spoonful of nut butter, or even Greek yogurt. This slows digestion, prevents sugar crashes, and keeps blood pressure stable. How much is enough? For most people, 1 to 2 servings of fruit per meal is ideal. 1 small banana, half a cup of berries, or 1 kiwi. It's not about eating more, it's about eating smarter. What to avoid? Fruit juices, even 100% natural, spike blood sugar. Armided fruits, concentrated sugar, no water or fiber. Breastfeeding fruits and syrup, loaded with hidden sodium and sweeteners. Quick tip: create a fruit combo bowl with kiwi, berries, and avocado slices. Add a dash of cinnamon and a few walnuts. Your heart will thank you. Liking this so far? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We post weekly, science-backed tips for folks over 60 who want to live better, without adding more pills to the mix. And now, let's take a look at the other side of the fruit story. Which fruits you might need to avoid, especially if you're taking blood pressure meds or managing diabetes. You've just learned which fruits act like natural pressure regulators. But let's balance the equation, because some fruits can quietly work against you even if they seem healthy on the surface. Especially for those managing high blood pressure or diabetes, the wrong fruit at the wrong time, in the wrong form, can send your numbers the wrong way. Let's look at the biggest culprits. The next area is fruit juice. You wouldn't eat 6 oranges in one sitting, but that's what you drink in a single glass of orange juice. Juice removes fiber, concentrates sugar, and hits your bloodstream like a freight train. Even 100% juice can spike insulin and trigger blood pressure elevations. Those dried fruits, raisins, dried mango, and even dates sound natural, but they're sugar bombs in disguise. Without water and fiber, the sugars become more concentrated. A small handful of raisins contains more sugar than a candy bar. Then you read tropical fruits in excess. Fruits like pineapple, mango, papaya, and ripe bananas are high in fructose. Delicious, yes, but in large amounts they can overload your liver and disrupt blood pressure control, especially if you're insulin resistant. Caution zone: canned fruit in syrup. This one's obvious, but still worth repeating. Canned fruit is often soaked in sugar syrup and may contain added sodium or preservatives, 2 things your arteries don't need. The reminder: the goal isn't to fear fruit, it's to be fruit smart. You're not just eating for flavor, you're eating for function. In our next section, I'll show you how to turn these insights into a daily routine, a way to use fruit like medicine every single day. Let's make this simple. Let's take a breath and zoom out for a moment. You've just explored the true power of fruit, not as snacks, not as sugary desserts, but as daily medicine designed by nature. You don't need to juice it, dry it, or chase exotic superfoods from halfway across the world. In fact, The most effective fruits for your heart are the ones you've probably walked past 100 times in your grocery store. Quiet, humble, unbranded, but powerful. So here's what I'd love for you to take away. When you eat a banana, you're not just snacking, you're balancing sodium like a pressure valve for your heart. When you slice a kiwi, you're helping your arteries stay flexible, like a garden hose that flows freely. When you eat red grapes, you're sending a message to your blood vessels. Relax, you're safe. And when you build these fruits into your routine, smartly, consistently, intentionally, you're no longer reacting to your blood pressure. You're taking back control. Because food isn't just fuel, it's communication. It tells your body what to do, what to heal, what to protect. And every time you choose the right fruit, you're casting a vote for a stronger heart, a clearer mind, and a longer, better life. So whether it's a bowl of berries in the morning or avocado and citrus on your lunch plate, let each bite remind you, you're not just eating, you're healing. But don't stop here, because in our final section, we'll tie everything together. I'll show you how to build a simple, repeatable, fruit-based habit that supports your pressure every single day, plus a bonus combo that works like a natural ACE inhibitor. Let's close strong. Let's bring it all together. You now know the 9 best fruits that help naturally regulate blood pressure. Not with gimmicks, not with trends, but with real nutrients your body understands. So how do you make this stick? Start simple. Your daily fruit habit. The 3-step plan. 1. Omopy 2 to 3 blood pressure-friendly fruits from the list we covered, like berries, kiwi, and avocado. 2. Allot them earlier in the day, morning or lunch, so they fuel your energy and don't spike blood sugar. 3. Facilitated with healthy fats or fiber, nuts, Greek yogurt, chia seeds, to slow digestion and boost heart benefits. And here's a bonus combo, what I call the cardio bowl. A half cup blueberries, 1 sliced kiwi, a half avocado diced, and rickled of walnuts, of a cinnamon. This is your natural ACE inhibitor, your daily blood pressure support, your healing ritual in a bowl. Now imagine if you did this every day. Imagine the compounding benefit, not just for your blood pressure, but your energy, sleep, and peace of mind. And now it's your turn. Which fruit are you adding to your routine today? Let me know in the comments. I read every one, and I reply to as many as I can. And don't leave without subscribing, because next week we're diving into how to drink water the right way to support healthy blood pressure. Yes, how you drink water can raise or lower your numbers, and most people get it wrong. This is Senior Health Guide, where we simplify science and empower people over 60 to live longer, stronger, and with less medication. Because health isn't about restriction, it's about renewal, and it starts with what's already in your kitchen.